Bridezilla ruins her own wedding, demands bridal party pay her canceled wedding. My friend Dana, female 29, was supposed to get married this past Sunday. The wedding got canceled and things have gotten very crazy. Dana was getting married to Josh, male 32. She's still in college with me and asked a few friends from college, myself included, to be her bridal party. Now, from the start, this wedding has been a disaster. I'm going to just point out a few of the crazy stuff we've dealt with. 1, she refused to invite my best friend, who she's supposedly good friends with, because she thinks we're lesbian lovers. We're not. 2, she had us go to the dress fitting and then demanded each of us pay $2,000 each for our dresses. Apparently, she had a specific style she wanted. I can afford it, but I won't buy a $2,000 dress for one event. Some of the girls in the bridal party don't have that flexibility with money. 3, apparently Josh couldn't invite any single females that were not blood relatives of him. So if he had any female friends, they were axed. 4, one of the girls in the bridal party doesn't drink because of her religion. Dana accused her of being pregnant in front of her parents and almost got her kicked out of her house. She was not pregnant and she dropped from the bridal party. She was a class act though and never bad talked Dana, just said she couldn't make it. We found out about it pretty much on the day of the wedding. 5, she tried to make us cancel our holidays with our families to instead go with her to a destination bachelorette party. I work full time even during holidays, so I told her that was not happening. More of the bridesmaids said similar things and she dropped it. That's just 5 things of countless drama this wedding was having before the day. Now, the meat of the story comes on the wedding day. The day started horrible. Dana was having a meltdown because apparently the flower girl had to cancel because she has chicken pox. She was threatening to sue the mother unless she brought this sick 3-year-old to the wedding. Threatening to sue over a flower girl is crazy. Josh apparently was able to calm her down from this starter outburst and we began preparations. The whole day she had constant outbursts. She made people cry, like wedding staff and bridesmaids. The maid of honor deserves a medal for the amount of diplomacy and bullshit control she had to do. I, for the most part, took the easy route and decided to work outside the bridal suite, like checking flowers and making sure the food was okay. Basically, any excuse not to be around the bride. Eventually, I had my makeup and hair done. Then the bride asked for a little time alone to decompress from the stress. We didn't even fight it. You could not see a group of women run faster away. Wedding was starting in 30 minutes, so we figured she would be fine alone for that little. I spent those 30 minutes just sitting in the chapel with my phone. It had to be about 5 minutes before the start of the wedding when maid of honor came over to tell me the wedding was canceled. I asked her what happened. Maid of honor, Dana was having a quickie with Josh's uncle in the room. Josh caught them. I just stared at the maid of honor with my mouth pretty much about to reach the floor. She told me to run and that she was trying to get as many people out before things exploded. So I quickly got my purse, gathered the 2 bridesmaids that were carpooling with me, and we left like the devil was after us. I checked with the other bridesmaid and all had escaped. That night, I called the maid of honor to check what happened and the tea was bad. Apparently, and rightfully, Josh called off the wedding, called her a few names, told off his uncle, and has since left with his mates to, I hope, have the biggest single man party ever. I feel so bad for him. He's an absolute gem of a man, and he apparently also told Dana and her parents that she will be paying the cancellation fees. According to the maid of honor, Dana's father told her in front of everyone that she was paying it on her own for being a slut. I thought that was the end of it. I made the choice to separate myself from the mess until I got a call from Dana, not even an hour ago, demanding $5,000 to help pay her cancellation fees. According to Dana, it was our duty as the bridal party to pay her cancellation fees. I obviously told her no and that she might as well lose my number. I am never speaking to this woman again. This has been pretty much the reaction of all bridesmaids and the maid of honor. By the way, maid of honor, Josh's older sister. Here is all I'm gonna say. There is absolutely 0% chance that OP didn't know Dana was this way before this wedding. There's no way that Dana wasn't showing signs that she was absolutely batshit crazy until this wedding. Like, she had to be crazy from the start. Good for OP to be like, I'm finally gonna cut her off. But you probably should have cut her off way earlier. Anybody who is involved in drama is not worth having around, because even if that drama doesn't involve you, you currently? It will. Relevant comments. Some tea. I mean, the sad part, she had her makeup and hair done and we left dressed and ready. So yeah, she was wearing her wedding dress for this. Someone asked, was Dana always like this? Well, we're sure there's no moral compass in there. She used to be incredibly nice way back before her engagement. And since becoming the first bride of the group, she became insufferable and we were all on our last thread. I don't believe that. There had to be more red flags to this human being. Poor Josh, I hope he finds someone. Not gonna lie, pretty sure half the bridal party would offer themselves as tribute. He's a good looking guy. That reaction right there tells me everything I need to know about this friend group. I don't know him that well, but we've had drinks a few times. He'll find a girl when he's ready in a snap. Update 6 days later. After talking to Josh yesterday, he asked me to only say that he's okay, figuring things out and moving on. We're going to stay friends with him and his sister. Dana was told that no one in the group wants to interact with her, and since then, it's been mostly radio silence. I can't share more about Josh's future's plan as he asked me not to. He did have a good laugh at some of the comments I showed him and appreciates the support. The one detail I did get corrected on for those curious was about his uncle. He's the younger brother of Josh's mother and he's 55 years old. I thought he was married into the family, but I got that detail wrong. I also figured out the most disgusting detail is the uncle knew Dana since she was a teenager. Dana and Josh are high school sweethearts. So yeah, I kind of feel gross knowing that. Other than that, I got a major haul of cake, so at least I got something good out of this mess. More relevant comments. No news on Dana. I actually requested to change some of my classes with her or drop if I couldn't find alternative schedule. Not in any hurry since I'm only a student part-time. What happened to the uncle and his family? From what I can share, I was asked to keep a lot of details private by Josh himself. His wife, uncle's wife, is planning a divorce. That's really all he wants me to say. I'm going on a date with a guy in a wheelchair. Please help. Original post, January 18th, 2024. I'm 20 male and a couple of weeks ago, I was on Grindr and I got a message from a guy 22 male. I looked at his profile and saw that he was a wheelchair user. I didn't ask him about it straight away, but we talked for most of the night about anything really, like music, our favorite sports and things. I felt comfortable with him straight away and it was never awkward. He then mentioned he was a wheelchair user in case I didn't read his bio. He has that problem a lot. And he explained that he was in an accident when he was 16 and he struggles to walk without holding on to something, so he uses his wheelchair mostly. But he can use a walking frame too. But he struggles to use one of his hands, which makes it difficult. He said I understood if I didn't want to talk to him after, but I did. We have talked every day since and I asked him out on a date for Saturday. We're going to get lunch, then just hang out for the rest of the day as neither of us have any plans. I'm really nervous and I don't want to offend / make him uncomfortable in any way. He's really good looking and seems like a nice guy. Other guys haven't given him a chance before and I want to be the one to change that. Oh, that's wholesome. I want to see what people are saying in the comments of the original post. Honesty is sexy in this case and I'm sure he will appreciate it. Let him know it's your first time going on a date with someone in a wheelchair and you're excited to meet him in person. You want to make sure he has a great time and to let you know if there's a certain location he prefers for the date. After that, just let the conversation flow. Wheelchair user here, just be honest and communicate. It's a lot better from our point of view than when people shy away from it and don't take the time to understand what works and doesn't work. 2, ask him what places are accessible for him. I've seen / heard places that claim to be accessible, but then their bathroom is up or down a flight of stairs, which makes it inaccessible. And if you have questions, feel free to ask. Since you're getting lunch and he doesn't have full hand function, don't be surprised if he asks for help with handling the menu, utensils, water glass, etc. A simple, let me know if I can help you with anything, opens up the topic for him to ask and shows him that you care. Something else that you can do that's really thoughtful is arriving early to the restaurant, informing the staff you're meeting someone with a wheelchair and requesting that they remove the chair from the table so he can roll right up. Holding doors open is always nice too. Have fun. Oh, that's cute. Okay, that's kind of cool. I like this. Like, I'm learning a lot. If you ever go on a date with somebody who's in a wheelchair, show up early, let people know, prep the area for them, and then also like make sure that where you're going is 100% wheelchair accessible, not just kinda wheelchair accessible. What's the update? Are they dating? Are they married now? This is 2 days after the original post. We went on the date today and it went great. I arrived first and I waited outside as we'd planned. And then not long after, he arrived and he's even more handsome than the photos. I held the door open for him and told him to ask if he needs any help, but I didn't force it. We ordered food and talked about everything and it didn't feel awkward at all. He's a nice and funny guy. After we finished our food, we went for a walk and he asked if I was having a good time. I said I was and he seemed so happy and told me he was too. It was his first date he'd ever been on and he told me that he was nervous in case I ghosted him because most guys have done that after agreeing to meet him. He asked if we could go for coffee because he didn't want the date to end yet and I agreed. He was being really cute and put his hand out so I could hold it and he told me I made him feel like a normal guy. That's so fucking cute. Guys, this shit's so cute. I fucking love this shit. Then after more talking, we both had to leave. He asked if he could kiss me, and I said sure, but forgot to bend down, so he luckily found it funny. I thought he was only going to kiss me on the cheek, but it was a proper kiss on the lips, and he's an amazing kisser, and he definitely made me blush, which was kind of embarrassing. I definitely want another date. This is so wholesome. I'm really glad we picked this one. This one's really cute. I like this one. OOP wants to give up her 2-year-old toddler for adoption. Don't worry, this isn't an ad. Before we get into the last story, I just wanted to say thank you for watching the video this far. And if you're enjoying the video this far, if you could hit the subscribe button or follow if you're listening on Spotify, as well as maybe share this with a friend who also enjoys Reddit stories. I appreciate any support, and if you enjoyed the video, I'm sure your friends will too. Anyways, back to the story. July 31st, 2021, needing to place my 2-year-old toddler up for adoption. Has anyone had any experience with this? I came to the realization that I need to place my almost 2-year-old daughter up for adoption. I'm a single mom with no family support and no support from the birth father. I came from a broken, abusive family. My mom was an addict. I actually was in foster care from the age of 12 until I aged out. I'm struggling from PTSD, depression, and suicide for my whole childhood. I'm 30 years old, never wanted to be a parent, so when I was pregnant, I wanted to put my baby up for adoption. But my mom and family pressured me into keeping the baby. They promised me they would help me, but the only one who really helped me was my mother, even though she wasn't dependable because of her addiction. All my family live out of state, and my mom passed from an OD in January 2021, so now I'm all alone. I actually have a good job and I'm able to financially support my daughter, but my mental health is so bad. 6 months after giving birth, I was involuntarily hospitalized for self-harming. I had a bad case of PPD. Maybe I still do. I don't know. All I know, I'm in therapy and my mental health is not getting better. I had a healthy pregnancy, no drug or tobacco use. I didn't even drink coffee. My daughter is very healthy, loving, well-adjusted, and hitting all of her milestones. She loves her stuffed animals. She calls them her friendies. She loves affection and cuddling. She loves music and dancing. If you say happy feet, she will shuffle her feet really fast. She's really the cutest thing in this world. Unfortunately, my mental has made it difficult to care for her, especially after losing my mother because I have no support. Sometimes I leave her crying in the crib because I just can't handle it. I love her, but I just feel so disconnected from her. It's not healthy for her, and I wanted her to have a better life than what I had. I know she is attached to me, but I believe she's young enough to make an adjusted transition. I guess this is a long story. I just don't want people judging me. I'm just looking for any advice or people's experiences with placing a toddler up for adoption. I'm hoping to go with a private agency, but not sure if they take toddlers. Even though I was in foster care, I'm not sure how state/foster adoption agencies work. Can I choose the parents, and am I able to have an open adoption? I know with private agencies, I can choose the parents and I am able to have an open adoption. Ideally, I prefer a same-sex couple. I was sexually abused by multiple men as a child, and I really don't trust any hetero men with her. I just don't want my daughter to go through what I've been through. I want her to have a good family. Any non-judging advice would be great. I already know right off the bat that OP's expectations are unrealistic. There's no way your kid isn't going to be sent into foster care first before they even have the chance of being adopted. And even then, nobody wants to adopt a toddler. They always want to adopt the baby. I don't think our foster care or adoption system is efficient or run properly. So I think, like, as a parent, you are doing your kid a disservice to put them into that system. I want to read the comments because my experience with adoption is very small. I don't want to be a dick because, like, mental health is important, but when you have a kid, you have a commitment to that kid. I think you should exhaust every avenue possible before you go the avenue of giving away your kid. And I think one avenue that she maybe hasn't explored yet is, like, can I hire somebody to full-time take care of my kid? I think until you exhaust that, you shouldn't jump to adoption. I'm not saying what she's doing is wrong. I'm not saying that she shouldn't do it, but personally, I would want to exhaust that avenue first. You said your daughter is 2 and that she'll adjust. You yourself went through the system and know what it's like. I can't imagine you would want your daughter placed in it unless you felt truly desperate and alone. Does your daughter have a pediatrician? They often work with agencies and might be able to put you in touch with a social worker. If you want an open adoption, it would seem a private agency would be what you're looking for. Be wary of what you're told and do your research with agencies. Social services would also have information. You would not have control over where your daughter would be placed if she were to go into their care. From your post, I find it hard to tell if you are considering to place your daughter for adoption because you want to/think it's the best option for both of you, or if you find your current situation unbearable and don't see another option. If it's the former, I have no intention to shame you/discourage you or make you feel bad about that choice. However, I do not have a lot of advice because I'm not too familiar with the processes and institutions you would have to deal with. I see other comments have that covered. If it's the latter, then there might be options for you to get support so that you have more space for yourself and can get treatment for your mental health if you so wish. I know in my country, social services and some private charities have people that can come to or even live with you for a couple months and sometimes a year to support you in raising your daughter. They create free spaces for you, but also offer resources tailored to your own parenthood and well-being. If this is not an option, someone else has suggested hiring a nanny or moving closer to family for support. Any of those three options would take some weight off your back and might be able to create enough time and space to take care of and get help for your mental health in a home setting. Therapy sessions, maybe medication, rest, meditation, reflection, whatever it is that you need to heal. Okay, I'm curious to see what she does. I think I'm not very qualified to give a good recommendation to OP under her current circumstances because I've never dealt with mental health issues that are as bad as hers. And I also don't really know her true intentions. Like, it doesn't sound like she wanted this kid in the first place. So I'm kind of doubting whether or not a little bit of this isn't just like, I never wanted this kid, get it away from me. February 16th, 2023. My daughter and I are doing much better than before. It wasn't the best experience to get to this good place, but it all worked out in the end. We both seem to be in a good place. Here's a long version if anyone's interested. Back in February to March 2022, I went through a bad mental health break. I became very suicidal, depressed. I lost over 20 pounds in a week from it. I did have a suicide attempt, but I ended up calling for help and the EMT took me to the hospital, who then 72'd me. I went into an inpatient hospital called HRI Hospital. It's a private one and it was more of a holding detention than a psychiatric hospital. I did learn a lot from the other patients, so the patients were more helpful than the staff. After that experience, I ended up doing an extra psychiatric program, but it was a PHP, partial hospital program, which is an intense outpatient one where I spent 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday, doing therapy work. It was actually more helpful. They focused on teaching about CBT, coping mechanisms, how to reframe negative thought patterns, so that was actually more helpful than the inpatient hospital. I will say, at the time, Boston was going through a major mental health crisis. Probably most places might be having the same crisis. Around that same time, Boston was trying to clear up the homeless camp tents on Methadone Mile, and many homeless people were shuffled to those inpatient hospitals, so they were extra overloaded. It took 4 days to get me a bed, so it was unprecedented circumstances. And actually, around that same time is when Russia started to invade Ukraine, because I found that out while in the hospital, watching the news, so my timing really sucked. It's just not a good time. My daughter's update. Right before all of this, I surrendered custody of my daughter to DCF, so she wasn't around me when I had my mental break back in February, and never saw any of the stuff above. Thankfully, she was placed in a very good foster home while I got my help. I had to go through a lot of treatments and follow DCF recommendations, but at the end of September 2022, my daughter was able to come back home and our court case was officially dismissed in December of 2022. Current update, 2023. Definitely not perfect. It's still a transition and some days are better than others. Being a single mother is just going to be hard at times, and I just need to get used to it. People tell me it gets easier when they start regular school, so I'm excited for that. My daughter is doing well. She definitely has a slight separation anxiety when I leave or drop her off at daycare, but it actually has gotten better since September 2022. DCF is still doing monthly check-ins for the next 6 months. Her ex-foster mom still comes and sees her and even takes us on family events, so it's been a good transition for her. My daughter is a sweet little girl. She loves affection and hugs and seems to be developing emotionally well with everything that she went through, except for some minor separation anxiety, but that really has gotten better too. I've just been working on my mental health, reframing negative thought patterns, staying away from toxic people. I have also been focused on whole body wellness, so I'm doing weight training, some martial arts, eating more clean foods, yoga, stretching, Pilates, etc. I gained 50 pounds over the pandemic/lockdown, but now I am back to my pre-pregnancy weight, the healthy way. I don't even weigh myself. I just focused on feeling good and getting back into shape. I like being active and living healthy, so that has really helped my mental health struggles. Also, definitely have better self-esteem. More confidence and self-worth has helped the most, honestly. I didn't take any pictures of myself for 2 years of the pandemic, but I'm starting to take more pictures and getting out more and just enjoying life more. I'm in a much better headspace and definitely feel more hopeful about the future. So a happy ending. If you're looking for more messy Reddit stories, click the link at the top of the description or the videos popping up on screen right now. The members of our community love these videos, and I'm sure you'll enjoy them too.